should I go into the chat?
You should go into the chat.
She's lost control. I still wish we had an entry on TV tropes.
I don't think that's necessary, especially given TV tropes' policies.
I know, but
I don't know if I want to be involved with that site.
Listen. I'm perfectly fine with being labeled a cloud cuckoo lander. Okay? And K-Gods is my cloud cuckoo lander minder.
Copy that link. That link. Find an image. That'll work. There and retweet. There we go. All right, ready when you are.
Okay. One sec. Next season, there's a show with just the title is so for you, called Girly Air Force.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about that one. All right. In 3, 2. Welcome to NTR Radio. I'm Tom Forster Nubis.
And I'm VZ Mark II. I almost said K-Gods, but no. K-Gods won't be here.
K-Gods is not joining us.
Cthulhu kidnapped him.
Yeah, no, the anti-Moor brigade came through and stole him. So the rescue team's been sent out. We will have K-Gods back by next week. But yeah, so we missed last week, and we were about to miss this week, but we figured it's been a while, so we will at least talk about the beginning of the fall season and go over some news that's come out in the past couple days. That, and I do have some purchases that are pretty interesting, at least to me.
I have purchases, but they're in Japan's private warehouse right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not shipping them until I hear about something else that supposed to come at the very end of the month.
Right.
But if it doesn't, if it's like, well, then I'll just do it. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I hit like 2 retro game stores and the local large-ish comic book store a few weeks ago. And so the large-ish comic book store's configuration has changed quite a bit over the past decade or so. So they now have this place that's behind like a little island of counters. And like you got to ask to go back there because otherwise they'll just they'll like suspect you of steal and stuff. But you go back there and it's shelves and shelves of like Japanese import games and
Mm.
Japanese import anime.
Oh.
So so it's like this is a place I'd never been to before in this store. So I spent a good amount of time there just looking at all the stuff they got and decided, hey, while I'm on this Japanese game kick that I've been on since September, I figured I would pick up Two Heart for the PlayStation.
Oh. Oh. Nice. Oh. Nice.
So like, Two Heart originally came out for the PC, but then they came out with the PlayStation version, which has a whole lot of extra features plus voice, plus I think a couple new routes as well. The second thing I picked up because I know that, or at least I'm about 95% sure that this will work uh on a like a regular ass US PSP that I'm gonna end up getting now because I have this now. I picked up the first Project Diva Hatsune Miku on the
Mm.
PSP. And then I also picked up a game for the Dreamcast called Tech Romancer.
Oh, I've heard of that. I've heard of that.
It's a 3D robot fighting game, basically. So there's three big robot fighting games on the Dreamcast. The first is Virtual on Oratorio Tangram. The second is one called Frame Gride from Software. And then you have Tech Romancer.
Uh,
Like Tech Romancer's got like big people on its staff, like Studio Nue did
mhm,
was involved. I think Shoji Kawamori did some of the designs as well.
mhm. So it's
Yeah,
almost like Armor Core a bit.
it's not really like Armored Core. Realistically it's closer to something like Virtua Fighter or Soul Calibur in its gameplay. If you're looking for something more like Armored Core, you're looking for Frame Gride because that's made by the same people.
Mm.
But the thing with Tech Romancer is like each robot is based off of a different sort of style of robot. So there's one that looks a lot like the monster Destroid from Macross, and there's like obviously you got your combining robots, you got your regular ass super robot, you got your Mobile Suit Gundam inspired robot.
That reminds me of this show from the like 2007 that I don't think anyone watched. I haven't seen, but and I can't remember the name of at this moment, but uh, I just know they had the character designer for Nadesco in it. But it was a show that um, had it was basically like take the most of the well-known mecha uh, designers and have them each design a mecha, have them each design a robot, and it was almost like a G Gundam type of situation where it was like each robot was from a different country. And
What was it called? Godanner?
no, not Godaner. Um,
The show sounds familiar.
yeah, it was from 2007. I just don't remember what uh I'm actually gonna look that up because I hmm, yeah.
Because the show you're describing sounds familiar, but I don't. Other than Godanner, that's the only mid 2000s mecha anime that sounds kind of like that I'm familiar with.
Uh, not, not gatekeepers. Was it Generator Gold? No, no, that's still too early. Uh, don't.
I don't know. All I know is that now I own two out of the three big mecha games on the Dreamcast, and I'm very happy about that. Well, technically, well, yeah, no, I do. Yeah, I was correct. I was correct. Technically, I can only play one of them because the copy of Virtual On I have is Japanese, but now I have Techromancer. Funnily enough, I tried to emulate this game before, but I don't know what was going on. But the the emulator basically the emulator ran fast, so it was like playing the game at three, four, five times speed.
Oh, um, yeah, I'm actually looking up all 2007 right now. And yeah, I'm gonna hate it myself once I find out the name. It's like, oh yeah, that I know. I've done. I've had a. Uh, uh,
Well, I mean,
this,
well, if this is, I know it's gonna bother you, but let's move on anyway.
all right. Well,
'Cause,
yeah. Continue
yeah,
onward.
so we do have the new season going on. I've
Yeah.
watched some stuff. I've only kept current with one show, and that is Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yes, I've heard. I have not watched that, but I would like to know your opinion on that.
It's really good. Uh, it, it's the put it this way, it's the only show so far that I've been pissed that it's a week to week thing because when I when I get to the end of the episode, I really want to know what happens next. The pacing of the
Uh,
show is excellent.
what would you compare it to?
I would compare it to uh, thematically. I It's sort of like Bakemonogatari, where it when what it's looking like because there's only three episodes out so far. What it's looking at like it's gonna be is arc based, and every three or so episodes it's gonna be homeboy and I'm guessing the main girl as well helping out someone else with their problem. That's what it's looking like. It might turn out to be something completely different, but that's what it's looking to be right now at least. And so thematically, I'd compare it to Bakemonogatari. There, it gives me the same kind of feeling that Amagami SS gives me,
Mm.
and the main girl is excellent too.
Oh, I found the name of the show.
Yeah,
Gigantic Formula.
gotcha. Okay, that's one
Yeah.
I've never heard of.
Jason Tyson, Gigantic Formula. And I was right. Yeah. Oh, okay. He wasn't the character designer. He was the director, Keiji Goto.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, and that yeah, that's the one where um each robot was done by a different designer.
huh. Might have to check that one out.
Oh, that was 26 episodes. Uh,
So I watched that. I watched the first episode of Goblin Slayer.
I've not watched that, despite everyone on the internet talking about that.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone on the internet talked about it for the first episode or two, and now everyone's quiet about it, except the people who are earnestly watching it.
Hmm.
Anyway, going off of the first episode, I I really liked having read part of the light novel. I really liked it. It was a very well done first episode.
It's funny. People are like, there was some stupid clickbaity article. This is, the darkest anime ever. It's like, what?
You must be new here.
Hi, meet my friend, Angel Cop. Meet my friend, Guyver OVAs. Meet
Meet
my
my
friend.
friend Jenna Cyber.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Meet my friend, MD Geist, where everything is hyper nihilistic. It's like, yeah, we could go on and on. All right. Meet my friend, Fist in the North Star. Battleship right through a skyscraper. All right. Like, it's like, what? Do they even actually showing like Goblike in play? Like,
Well, no, okay, yeah. There was the rape scene in episode 1. And not to be that guy, but you saw it coming if you read the manga or read the light novel. And here, here's the one thing that I will give the people complaining. Funimation originally had, not Funimation, Crunchyroll originally had Goblin Slayer as TV PG, which is
oh yeah, because
definitely not what Goblin Slayer is.
now they put a little like warning in the episode.
Yeah.
But you know what? Fine, whatever. I'm not,
Well, it's a double-edged sword for me because I I appreciate that Crunchyroll is looking out for its people after the fact, after people complained. So I appreciate that they're correcting their mistake in that way. But there's a very cynical part of me that doesn't trust that what people are really looking for is just to be warned.
Oh, we forgot to mention the chat. Sorry, though.
So what you do to get involved with the show is head over to ntrradio.net, click the chat link, give yourself a nickname, and join us in the IRC channel. Alternatively, hit up your favorite IRC client, connect it to irc.ryzen.net, and join us in the pound or hash SLC Media channel. In addition, you can get at us on Twitter at VZMK2, at TAnubis, at immortal_KGods, at NTR_radio, and as always, the email box to email the show is ntrradio@gmail.com. So there's a really cynical part of me that doesn't believe that a lot of the people complaining about Goblin Slayer just want to be warned. And there's an even more cynical part of me that thinks that the paradigm that we're ushering in now with Crunchyroll now putting out content warnings is that what it makes it very easy to do for people to do is start grilling Crunchyroll saying, "Hey, why are you streaming anime with rape in it?" And because because of the type of people that Crunchyroll is courting, the anime feminist types particularly, they really don't have a really don't have an answer for that. Not one that'll be acceptable anyway. But that's just a very cynical part of me. But there's that part of me that doesn't believe that that's where it stops. That the content warning is where it stops.
Mm.
Yeah, so I enjoyed the first episode of Goblin Slayer. I also watched the first episode of. Did watch the first episode of Gridman.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I like the concept. The CG is kind of on my end. I don't know how you picked up on it, but
Okay,
I
here.
was kind of
Well,
halfway.
um, I'll talk about it when I get to. Well, okay, I'll mention it now. The CG is actually not. I'm not that bothered by it. To do the action that they're trying to do at a TV level, it's understandable. It's not obnoxious and it's not overly frequent.
Right.
Um, it's at certain. I know what they're doing, and it's besides State of Fight, karate. They want it to feel just like the Toku,
Right.
the original Tokusatsu show, because stuff like the shoulder armor bobbles after he moves.
Okay,
It's
that
like
makes
he
sense.
moves, then he stops, but the armor bobbles.
Right. That makes sense.
That's what the that's what they're trying to do here. Um, I'm it's uh, I'm liking again. I'm liking the characters, and I'm liking um. I'm just glad to have a robot show that I'm enjoying that isn't Gundam.
Right.
So far, I give it a 4 out of 5, though. Um, but for what it's doing, I'm enjoying it. It's
Going just off of the first episode, I'm at a 3 out of 5. Uh, so they, I'm looking back at the episode right now just so I can try and explain this. So like in the beginning of the first episode, they did, and I don't know if they continue doing this kind of thing, but they have this really weird visual thing going on where it's the main dude and the girl talking.
oh, I know. And then it suddenly like
Yeah, the
transition.
movements with the dialogue kind of like they don't transition fully.
Yeah, it like dissolves. It does a weird dissolve while they're
It's not even
talking.
that they do it does a weird dissolve. It just like girl will be standing looking directly at the dude, and then it'll just cut to her standing kind of sideways.
Oh yeah, well that was only that first episode. I haven't seen
Okay,
it.
good. Because that's really weird and I don't know why that's necessary.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in any of the other episodes. Um, yeah, that was a weird thing. Too. But like I said, I would say for TV level, what they're trying to pull off, it's looking good for that level. I mean, you're not gonna get my ideal, which is fully 2D
Well,
and
yeah.
hyper complicated animation.
Yeah, no, it's just not going to happen.
That's only gonna happen in like OVAs
Right.
and spaced out after a long time. It's the only way you could ever get that anymore. Um. Oh, so you told me before you watched Uzumade.
Yep, that's the last one I watched, the first episode of Uzumade. And
Uh,
I I really enjoyed that one. It's
that's my,
hilarious.
that is my favorite show of the season. uh, it's so shameless too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's shameless and it's also like well done too.
That Dogakobo animation
Yep.
is so shameless, and again, I just I mean, people complaining, oh, they took out some of the nudity that was in the manga. I really don't care. It's fine for the show.
Yeah, it doesn't
Uh,
matter. It's a good show regardless.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so the other ones I've been watching is Anima Yell, which is the other Doga Takobo show about the cheerleading, and I'm enjoying that one too. Um, I wish it was a 5 out of 5 though, because I love the concept.
Right.
I like girls. It's more like a 4 out of 5, and it's not as. It's clear like if the Uzumate is getting slightly more priority.
Right. Right.
Production wise. But it's still fine for what it is. There's cheerleading, obviously.
Yeah.
Especially in like the first episode. So and they didn't cheat by using CG. And the main girl is adorable.
Naturally.
It's Doga Kobo. It's my right. It's the same magazine that all those ones come from. Hidamari Sketch, K-On, and there's actually like several Manga Time Kira.
Right.
Manga Time Kira is one of them. But there's like different branches for the same type of. I don't think they're all for Coma though. I know like Yuru Camp is there, Ah Channel's there, Yu Yushiki's there, K-On's there, Himari's there. So, and this one's there. The other I'm watching is and one of the others is Tonari no Ketsuki-san, which is Miss Vampire lives in my neighborhood.
Right.
Miss Vampire who lives in, and I'm liking that show a lot too. It's basically it's the same studio as Kinero Mosaic, so it has the same feel, just with a vampire in it. A lot of vampire jokes. I love. Again, I just love the fact. First off, great name by the way, Sophie Twilight, and I love the fact like she's a vampire, but she doesn't want to do vampire thing. She doesn't want to actually like bite people, so she orders blood online. And the main girl, the main Japanese girl, is like infatuated with her. And the vampire girl's more afraid of her than vice versa. It's like, shouldn't I scare you? It's like, no, I love vampires. That type of thing. They had this great part in the third episode where, so they were talking about, so Sophie, have you had any friends? Oh, I had one. I had this one family friend who, and they became vampires too. Because Sophie's over 360 years old.
Only 360 years old.
Yeah. You find out, you stay the same age, you look the same age that when you were bitten as.
Right.
So this family's like, and then that was also vampires. And then you see the father is like, I wish I was bitten before I started losing my hair. And then the mother's like, I wish I was bitten before I started getting wrinkles. And then the daughter's like, I wish I was bitten after I've gotten some breasts. After my breasts started coming in. Yeah, it's funny. With that. What else am I watching? I'm watching the Side M,
right.
the Automaster Side short, which is it's all right for what it is. It's not as it's not Geki Joe. It's not crack. It's not my idol crack. So it's when you put filler in the drugs. What's that term when you stretch out? I forgot the term of that when you stretch out. Anyway,
I don't know.
uh, and the last one that I'm watching is Senran Kagura Shinobi Master.
I still need to watch the first
Yeah,
Senran Kagura.
yes, you do. Oh, the original.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm enjoying this too. I think the original show had slightly better production value, though. This is a different studio, by the way. But other than that, it's fine for what it is. It's not, from what I hear, it's not really a sequel to the original show. It's supposed to be based on one of the games or something.
Right.
So in a way, you can watch this without seeing the first, but I think it helps knowing some of those original characters more if you've seen the original and the OVA that they did.
Right.
Oh, and there's nipples in it.
Naturally.
And the rip that I'm watching has them, so you don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta wait for the, gotta wait for
it's
the
funny
video.
It's funny because there's not full nudity in the game, but there is in the anime.
Of course, as a connoisseur, I would have preferred if they had different areola and nipple shapes, like Valkyrie Drive. I mean, there was some other stuff I checked out, like that one boarding school Juliet. I didn't care for that after past the first episode. And I also checked out two other shows that were okay, but not enough to keep me for the season, especially compared to everything else. One was Release the Spice.
That one I still need to check out.
It's like I said, it's okay. It's the character designer for Yuri Namori. It's not bad. It's just, you know what? I have a lot. I have enough for the season to enjoy. So,
right.
Sometimes that just happens where it's not necessarily the fault of the show, but sometimes if there's better stuff this season, you rather stick with the better.
Oh yeah. So it's like that just happens all the time for me because I tend not to watch a whole lot season to season. So it's like I just end up missing a whole bunch of shows, not because they're bad shows, but because just don't have time.
The other one that I checked out two of was As Miss Beelzebub Likes It.
Right.
Which it's not, but it reminds me of like a studio. It reminds me of a Silverlink. It kind of has that look. Like it kind of has that look of like a Shin Numa show.
Right.
Which is it's okay. It's got some cute imagery, but not enough to sustain me.
Right.
Again, if it wasn't that the other stuff was so good this season, but I definitely recommend. Watch more of Uzumade. Watch more of Gridman.
So I'll definitely catch up on Uzumade. Gridman, I might leave until it's all said and done. And I do still need to check out Release the Spice.
Yes. Also, again, and then take your pick, Anima Yell or Miss Vampire.
Yeah, I might check out Miss Vampire. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Other than that, we do have some news.
Yes.
So let's find the news drop in.
Let's news. Working to restore power.
Funimation and Crunchyroll are ending their partnership.
Right, I read about this.
So this comes from the Crunchyroll forum. Is update to the Crunchyroll X Funimation partnership. Dear Crunchyroll users, as many of you know, we've had an ongoing partnership with Funimation the last 2 years, sharing anime between users. Unfortunately, Funimation has decided to go their separate way, and this partnership will be winding down on Friday, November 9th. For our Crunchyroll community, this means you'll be able to access the biggest library. This means you'll still be able to access the biggest anime library in the world. However, a list of select catalog titles licensed via Funimation will be leaving Crunchyroll. Likewise, the Funimation catalog will also be impacted. The list is currently being finalized between both parties, and we will share impacted titles with you as available. Currently airing simulcasts and series that premiered during the partnership will continue to be available on Crunchyroll, including favorites like Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia. Additionally, all home video releases will be released as scheduled, and all pre-orders will be fulfilled. As demonstrated by a record year of anime announcements, Crunchyroll is more committed than ever to bringing you the best and latest series from Japan, as well as expanding our catalog of classics. We've just launched a strong fall season with the likes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and Sword Art Online Alicization, and plan to bring much more to you in the future. Thank you for your continued support. We are honored to be your favorite source for anime, and we'll continue to do our best in delivering you your favorite series at the speed of Japan. Sincerely, the Crunchyroll team. Now, there a lot of speculation is going on, and I really don't have any reason to not believe this, that the ending of the Crunchyroll Funimation partnership was initiated by Sony, who as we know owns Funimation.
Yeah,
now.
I heard that too.
And realistically, it wouldn't surprise me if Sony was trying to do a move to create their own streaming service. And if Sony creates their own streaming service, they want Funimation titles on that streaming service because they're responsible for Funimation's titles. Now, this is just my speculation, but it would make sense to me if that was Sony's move. We also simultaneously to this, we're also hearing that High Dive is joining VRV, which is Elation's the parent company of Crunchyroll's various geek media streaming service. So basically, both those happening at the same time.
Just sounds like the changing of the tide of video streaming.
Certainly, on a personal level, I'm not happy that that High Dive is getting on board with VRV. But it's really only because I don't like VRV.
Oh, I didn't even heard of VRV.
So this is the Crunchyroll parent companies basically. VRV or Verve is it's a streaming network where there's a whole bunch of different media networks on it, including Crunchyroll and now High Dive. And they're basically, the specialty is geek media. So I think the Nerdist is on there, and like Cartoon Hangover is on there. And this is just me. I'm not particularly appreciative of the geek media paradigm, especially when they try to include anime on there because it never works. It's historically never worked and it's historically not done anything for anime.
When they try to market anime as a geek thing.
Yeah.
When
Or
it's
more to the point, when they try to include anime in with other like other geek culture stuff. It rarely works. It really rarely works well for anime, which is what I care about. Like, there's nothing else on Verve's catalog that I really give much of a damn about. I mean, which is fine. It's their decision to do whatever they want with their platform. My only thing is, uh, as long as High Dive stays independent, I'm on board. Also,
well,
as a prediction, uh, keep an eye out. In 5 years, I don't think Crunchyroll is gonna be its own entity. Between now and 5 years from now, maybe 10 for a conservative estimate. I don't think Crunchyroll is gonna be its own entity. It'll be wrapped up into Verve because there's really no reason not to do that for Elation.
Yeah, I imagine they'll probably split off. They'll probably split off and be one thing an anime thing and one thing their original. Yeah.
Well, no, that's the opposite of what I'm predicting. I'm predicting Crunchyroll ceases to be its own entity and just becomes a channel on Verve. Because why? Like the same company owns both services. Why not do that? Especially given a lot of the things they're doing with the direction they're heading Crunchyroll off into. It'll certainly still be its own brand, but it doesn't necessarily have to be its own service if the same company owns both Verve and Crunchyroll. That, and if you're bringing Crunchyroll customers onto Verve like that, if you're gonna close down Crunchyroll as an independent service and roll all of that into Verve, so all Crunchyroll subscribers are now Verve subscribers to some extent or not, then hey, you can market all this other stuff that's on Verve to those same people. No reason not to.
Can you watch stuff for free with High Dive or?
You can, I believe so. I think it's similar to Crunchyroll, where a lot of the stuff is available for free, but to watch it in HD and to watch simulcasts, and I think to watch dubs as well, you need to subscribe to it.
All right, because I'm looking at now. I'm looking free episodes. It's only some stuff. It's only a couple of things here that they allowed for free.
Oh, okay. All right, that's their move.
So, yeah, that doesn't help me because, you know.
Well, and like not to be out here marketing High Dive, but it's also cheaper than Crunchyroll. So when I uh, closed down my Crunchyroll subscription and started a High Dive subscription, I basically get like I end out with more money each month than previously because High Dive's cheaper. High Dive's cheaper, has more stuff that I really actually want to see, and doesn't do a lot of the same bullshit that Crunchyroll does, and their player works. So that's four pluses for High Dive that are all minuses for Crunchyroll. And now they're going to be on Verve, which it's going to be interesting to see now because previously the paradigm was Crunchyroll and Funimation versus High Dive and Sentai Filmworks. But now it's just Crunchyroll versus High Dive and Sentai Filmworks, the only two companies that are partnered in that way. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But otherwise, the streaming landscape is changing as it always has been, as it always does. So we people got up in arms about the anime strike, which turned out to turn out bad for Amazon. So they just rolled that back into the Amazon Prime service, which was a smart move. But it remains to be seen how this will affect Crunchyroll and how Verve will affect High Dive. My prediction is it'll only really affect High Dive positively because that's just another service that their content is on now.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a pretty big shakeup considering that the Funimation Crunchyroll partnership was that big a deal when it happened, and only 2 years too.
Because I remember, yeah, some of the releases had, some of the Funimation releases had like Crunchyroll too.
Right.
It was like like it said Funimation, but it had like I think like a Crunchyroll thing on it too.
Right, because I know that Crunchyroll has been making some forays into like putting out DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff,
Yeah.
like publishing physical media. I just don't know how far they've gotten with that.
Well, now I notice that Funimation is starting to release some shows again, including a few that I want, like really cheap now, like half the price. Um, Part of it is because it's just the Blu-ray, so
Probably.
the DVD. Because I don't need the DVD. Why do I need the DVD? If I just want the Blu-ray.
I don't know. All I know is that I hope I don't know how this would turn out, how this would end up turning out the way I wanted to, but my hope is that something about this move will uh, bring Funimation to improve their business practices because I'm still not happy with them.
Mm.
So
Well,
I have heard some things through like back channels that they have made some moves internally that the kind of thing I'm pissed off about isn't going to happen again. But I would appreciate some kind of confirmation on that. And I know I'm probably not going to get it directly from Funimation, but I would appreciate some kind of more public confirmation than just stuff I've heard. They they really ought to apologize to their fan base for what they did or for what they allowed to happen.
Crunchyroll or
Funimation.
Funimation. Oh
There are
yeah,
reasons Crunchyroll also should apologize for their fan base. They're not gonna, but there are indeed reasons Crunchyroll should apologize.
yeah. I'm still gonna buy some Funimation shows, but again, it's more of a show by show basis.
I will only buy Funimation shows used now, where previously I did not want to own any further Funimation shows. Now I'll only buy them used because that money's not going back to the company, but I still want to own the show. I'm fine. I'm fine internally owning the show. But until there's some kind of confirmation on a higher level that the shakeup I'm thinking of has happened, or that something else has happened that they're not gonna do that again to their shows. I'm still not buying their shows new.
That's your thing. Again,
Man, it's my thing. It's principle is my thing. And again, I if I
No,
can't
it's fine.
trust them to put out if I can't trust them to put out a product that I want to buy, then I'm not going to buy the product. So once is was a once is coincidence, twice once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, three times is enemy action. Did it three times, and I'm not going to buy from company I can't trust. Like it's dumb. It's really dumb because oh, I can't trust this company to put out a product I want to buy when realistically it's it's super easy. All they have to do is not fuck with it. They're the only company out here that you see doing the kind of stuff they do, and it's only because they're as big as they are.
Mm.
Oh, no, it's weird because I was talking with the Geek Panda earlier today, and this subject came up, and it's really weird because okay, so Crunchyroll is the biggest kid on the block with regard to anime streaming, yet they can't
Mm-hmm.
somehow keep make their web player run properly. They somehow can't keep their website from going down every time a new episode of Dragon Ball Super comes out. Like like that like okay, yeah, they get a lot of traffic whenever Dragon Ball Super comes out, but you think, hang on, every single time an episode of Dragon Ball Super comes out, the site goes down. So that's predictable then. So they could predict it and they could fix the problem, but they don't. Yet they also have the money to put on their own convention and like bring guests and whatnot and like international guests and whatnot to their convention. They also
Mm-hmm.
have the money to do this anime awards farce.
Yeah, no, no, I know what you're saying. It's that all the stuff out in incendiary stuff should be spent to get their site working better, and yeah, also just run their company better.
Well, yeah, well, they're the biggest kid on the block with regard to anime streaming. So they let themselves get complacent because they're in a position of power, and they've let their core functionality languish, and they're content in their position of being on top because hey, they've been the top dog for so long that nobody's going to take them down easily. And it's just yeah, and like I get it, you can do that, and I get it that sure they might be able to sustain themselves that way, or maybe they're losing money. I don't know, but if they are losing money, they're not losing money at a rate where it causes a sense of urgency.
Well, they have. Let's be real. They have just based on certain things that they have. They have um Dragon Ball. Yeah, they have the Dragon Ball. They have Attack on Titan and Hero Academia.
Yep.
Those are already big things.
Yeah,
Uh,
and yeah, they have a lot of big titles, and they're in a position where they play a vital role for a lot of people with regard to where they get anime, and which is fine. They can exploit that position all they want, but I'm just saying it's a sleazy bush league thing to take advantage of your consumers that way. Why when
well,
it's
just
like
from me to, I was gonna say, just from me to you,
yeah.
the last Funimation
Well,
thing that I
well,
bought.
from me to you and all the people listening to this podcast, go ahead.
Okay, I had the last thing I bought from Funimation was that the first season of Love Live Sunshine.
Right.
I had no issues. It was perfectly fine.
And that's the whole thing. It's like, sure, it had no issues, but you had to buy it to figure that out. The whoever figured out the
Well, I would have looked into it if it wasn't before buying. I always look into, um,
but someone would have had to buy it to figure it out. That's my point.
the only time I was really, really burned was the Lucky Star because yes, I know, fine, the Japanese Blu-ray was like that too. Someone should have looked into it saying, no, this is unfit for home consumer release.
Yeah, and
All right.
and again, to figure to figure that out, someone would have had to buy the Lucky Star release. So I'm saying you can't trust them to put out a quality product. If that's what they're willing to do, like if they're willing to screw around with the dub scripts
It
and
would
do
have,
whatever they
and
want
it
and
would
let
have
the
been a
people go buck
simple.
wild, then then sure, but they don't tell people that they did that. So
It
you
would have
can't
been a simple
trust that they
smooth over, like that program that smooths over, because that's what they do for a lot of the shows that were animated before high definition.
well, yeah, but they didn't. So someone bought it from them, found out that they didn't do that, and
You
now
can
who
see the
cares because Funimation has their money now.
Yeah, well, that's right. I sold it to someone anyway, so but I'm still pissed about that, obviously. You know.
But that's my point: is that you can't. Now it's a paradigm where you can't trust them to put out a product that you're willing to pay for.
Well, it's like this. I will not buy any old, like anything old from them, especially it's from that 2000s period, because you don't know. In
Well,
fact,
well, certainly, and again, I'm not trying to convince you of anything, but I'm just explaining my methodology. It's like, sure, sure, you can mitigate the the kind of Lucky Star thing happening again by not buying anything older from them. They might still fuck with the script, and there's no way for you to know that without buying it first.
um, yeah, or
So
knowing that.
I can't trust that they won't do that. So I I really can't go out and buy new stuff from them if I can't trust that they'll make they'll if I can't trust that they'll make a product that I want to buy, which is really simple, but they decided to complicate it because they're in a position of power and they don't actually give all that much of a damn whether or not
Well,
they're
it's
serving their
like that
fans well.
thing again. It's that analogy that I said. It's that thing where you're not necessarily the top, but you think you're the top, and because of that, you become complacent in your which is like one of the reasons why I was worried about Hasbro buying the license to Power Rangers, because it's like when you eliminate the competition and you buy up like a rival's IP, suddenly you feel like you don't have to try as hard, even though Bandai USA was kind of fucking up Power Rangers. But that's like that. I could make a whole entire show about that. That would be probably outside of your, only because I'd be talking about stuff that you wouldn't be knowing about.
Well, to some extent, that's part of the reason why you do buy other competing companies, so you don't have to try as hard. But
No, but the thing,
the the thing about it is, it's like you can't just stop trying, and you certainly can't start putting out products that people fundamentally don't want.
no, it's just I found it weird because it's like, Power Rangers is so associated with Bandai. Super, and then for the longest time, Power Rangers was like their most big, and they couldn't even make a profit on that. Because the live action movie from last year bombed, even though I actually enjoyed that movie. Go figure. Um, but now Hasbro has the license. Uh, part of it was they didn't know what the customer really wanted here.
Right.
Cool. You know, like they were part of it was because they were trying to market it for a long time. The figures the way like Western superhero figures, so they gave him like really big muscles and
Right.
exaggerated
Right.
proportions. I already saw what the prototypes look like for um like what Hasbro's planning, and it's actually an interesting attempt because they're trying to make it look like the way they looked on the show,
Right.
the spandex, which is uh yeah, but like I said, that's a whole different thing there. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying with both Crunchyroll and Funimation is that they've gotten complacent in their positions of relative influence in the anime sphere.
And
As a
don't
result,
give me
they don't think they need to serve their customers as well as they do.
also
That's at
don't get
least
me
the
started.
impression I get.
Yeah. Also, don't get me started on Transformers. Although I am liking the line that's coming out. It's not part of a cartoon. It's just it's it's like a classics collector line that they always have for like collectors, but it isn't like masterpiece
Right.
that they always have. Um, and this one's gonna be called Siege,
Hmm.
and I'm liking what I saw from like Comic Con, last Comic Con. Uh, it's actually a better attempt than the previous collector line because man, did I hate what they were putting on with the stickers. Like really, team. It's like I don't want that. But again, that's one of those things. It's like for me and me only because unless I have pics to show you, you don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. But yeah, that's the news. Funimation Crunchyroll friendship ended, and High Dive Ver friendship begin. We'll see how this turns out. I still have high hopes for High Dive. High hopes for High Dive. Yeah, I still have high hopes for that service. I think the direction they're going, which is hey, let's just stream anime, it is a good direction.
Well, yeah, Sentai's been picking up some great stuff over the years. They've been
Sentai's been they've been coming up. I really like a lot of the stuff they've been picking up, and like, as a result of that, I really like High Dive's catalog. They have some very very good anime on that service.
they had a few hiccups that period when they transitioned into from ADV to Sentai
Yeah,
because yeah, let's not forget when they deliberately changed the age of one of the characters for uh
Hatsukoi Limited.
yeah, that's it, thank you. And it's like no, I know it's like by doing that you completely change, because the whole thing was still, it's like dude, the character was in middle school. It's like what are you trying to
Yeah,
fool?
it changes the whole context of the scene.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know, but recently I haven't seen any issues like that from that
They've been
company.
doing really well. They I haven't had any problems with Sentai Filmworks. Their dubs are very hit and miss. That's basically the only thing I can consistently say about them. But I mean,
Mm.
otherwise, they've got they've got good stuff. They put out good stuff. Their High Dive's catalog is excellent. Like they get some of the best stuff from each year, in my opinion. Like they have Girls Last Tour, they have Amagami SS, they have Made in Abyss.
That said, there's probably still a few things from Funimation I'll get that,
Oh, don't get me wrong. There's stuff that like if Funimation decided, hey, we're gonna come clean and tell you hey, we've taken some internal steps to make sure that the stuff people got mad at us about never happens again. They came out and said that. There's stuff I'd go out and buy tomorrow from Funimation. But as it stands, uh, maybe in 5-10 years I'll get some of those shows if Funimation never fesses up. Or if I otherwise don't get some kind of more official confirmation that they've made some changes and are more committed to higher quality releases. Putting out products that people actually want to buy instead of products that Funimation thinks they should have.
Yeah. Well, you know, again, yeah, start well that's one thing. Start pay attention to your actual consumer base and not what you think your consumer base. Yeah.
Or start paying more attention to your consumer base than your dub actors and dub writers. Maybe the people
I still don't know how.
paying you are should have more of a say in the product they get than the people you're paying.
I still don't know how. Like, I mean, I actually do know, but those DBZ, um, remember like how people were buying those DBZ orange sets,
Yep.
the edited, not the edited, but like, um, the top and bottom.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they put those out because they know people will pay for them, and they're
Yeah,
they're
because
100% okay with screwing over their consumer base and giving them an
um
inferior product.
because they're marketing to an audience that um want that sort of sees DBZ as eternally new. Whereas I'm fine with old anime looking old. Yes, I love high definition, but I don't. You don't need to pretend that it's brand new. You don't have to like saturate the color so much that it like takes out, all the grain. You don't have to cut the top and the bottom to make it fit, 16 by 9.
Well, they're giving these people a fundamentally inferior product for no real reason. Like how many of those people who are buying those orange sets would stop buying the orange sets if Funimation stopped cutting off the top and the bottom and all that stuff?
Mm.
Maybe two of them, like total two of those people would get mad enough to do that.
Yeah, actually,
Everyone else probably likes DBZ too much to care deeply about whether Funimation's like whether Funimation is ruining their stuff and thinking it's better.
I was wrong. The last thing that I bought from Funimation wasn't Love Live Sunshine. It was I haven't gotten to watching it yet. The Shin Godzilla release.
Ah,
I heard some of the things that I heard that the issues was I think it was that some of the signs weren't translated. Like there's like kanji and such that
right.
appears, but it's like
That's minor.
yeah, I
Like
don't
like
care.
I like. Don't get me wrong. I'm upset about this Funimation thing, but like if there's anyone out there upset about that, you need to pick your battles because that's so minor. It doesn't really matter. I don't know. And like it's I don't know, it's a big deal for me. It's a big deal because I don't like uh, I don't like people pissing on my head and telling me it's raining. I don't, and that's part of why I unsubscribed from Crunchyroll too, because
Yeah.
they tried to cover up the whole thing with that one game they put out that they advertised
Yeah.
a feature in and then took that feature out because it was inappropriate for an English speaking audience because they get to determine that.
Yeah. Oh well, a lot of people are pissed about. Did you hear another piece of news? Did you hear about the Senran Kagura release?
Oh
What happened?
yeah, yeah. Speaking of Sony, so the newest Senran Kagura release is going to have, so what was it, the touching feature basically?
It was something called intimacy mode, but yeah, I think
Okay,
that's
yeah,
what.
it's going to have intimacy mode taken out of the PlayStation 4 release. It's still going to be in the Steam release, so all the PC Master Race people will be able to play Senran Kagura in its full glory, but all the people who still think Sony's a good company will get an edition of that game that's lacking full features. Now, I could say I told you so, because I've been on this for a while that Sony doesn't know what they're doing, has never known what they're doing, and continues to not know what they're doing. I could say I told you so, but I'm not gonna because that would be rude of me. I could say I told you so and say, hey, between getting hacked, getting their service hacked because they ran their mouths, between consistently putting out a subpar gaming experience, between not a history of bad decisions, including this one, I could say I told you so, but I'm not gonna. Trusted mistakes were made. We trusted Sony to not to not f up our gaming experience. Mistakes were made.
We're gonna be releasing
Mean, like
PlayStation.
and like
Yeah,
apparently,
PlayStation.
meanwhile, Nintendo's been pretty good about like not censoring games like Senran Kagura.
We're gonna be releasing PlayStation Classic. Buy your own adapter.
Yeah, yeah. Between so
Does
so
not come with
so
adapter.
like you understand what I'm saying when I say Sony doesn't know what they're doing and has never known what they're doing. Because like that's a okay. We're gonna go in the vein of what Nintendo did and what Sega licensed another company to do, and we're gonna come out with a classic edition of our first console. And if you want to play it, sure, go ahead. But number one is the controller we're going to use for it is the one without the dual analogs. So we could do this thing where we include the best controller with our classic console.
Well, I think it's
And
because that didn't come until PlayStation 2.
no, it was with the PlayStation 1. I own one. Like I own one of those dual analog controllers. And
But
part
did
of
you
where I
get
was
it for the
going with
early?
this
But you
was
didn't
that
need it for the early games.
what they well, my point is, why are we only talking about the are we only including the games that don't require the analog controller? Because there were games that did require the analog controller, and some of those were the best games on that console. You can't play Ape Escape on the PlayStation Classic.
Well, they'll probably, you know what they do. They'll probably do a revised version
Yeah,
with.
like they do with every single console because they're Sony and they don't know what they're doing. They've never known what they're doing, and will continue to not know what they're doing. But people will still give them money because I don't know, they're brain dead. I don't know. This is coming from someone who and full disclosure, I I'm I will at least become a PS4 guy for one game, and that's Virtual On, because that's the only game that I will buy an entire console for. But otherwise, like what are you doing? So they come out with the PlayStation Classic with the non-dual analog controller, because apparently you don't need that, and no AC adapter. This thing doesn't need, electricity to run. So, all I'm saying is, are you dumb if you buy that? Maybe. I don't know. Sony just consistently has shown that they don't know what they're doing at all. And yes, I don't know. Maybe they'll handle Funimation better. Who knows? What's weird is, like, Sony also owns Aniplex, which has a history of making good moves. So I don't know. Maybe it's just their gaming division that's maybe unable to do anything right.
Maybe Kadokawa should buy Funimation.
I just want Funimation to stop fucking around and, like, commit to a better product. Like, I don't care who owns them. And realistically, I don't necessarily want the American distributors to be bought out by the by Japanese distributors. I want the Japanese distributors to set up shop here, like Aniplex did. And maybe that just won't work for every one of them, because I mean, Pony Canyon didn't do very well when they tried that.
No, I mean, they're doing something. Oh no, they actually are going to release more of the second season of Sound Euphonium, but yeah.
Okay, they had some. Well, part of Pony Canyon's issue was, like, they didn't have titles people really wanted.
Well, Sound Euphonium, but
so they had Sound Euphonium, but it's like, yeah, and what else?
Also, it's kind of a. I couldn't get into that show. Sorry.
It's like, okay, that and Sound Euphonium.
And that show that Sneaky likes.
Yeah, Denki Guy no Honya-san, which I'm not gonna shit talk the show, but I don't really hear a whole lot about it, and I didn't really hear a whole lot about it when it was airing.
No.
I mean, I'm looking at the list now. Okay, cute high Earth Defense Club Love. Okay, no, I've heard nobody talk about that. Days, I've heard nobody talk about that. Deki Guy no Honya-san, Erotama, no. Garukawa Restore the World. I never even heard of that show.
Oh no, it's a movie. I saw that.
Okay. I had no idea it was a movie. I had no idea about anything involving whatever that property is. But it's like, okay, oh my god, it's the movie. All right, so that's something that at least I know is good and I've heard of.
Which, by the way, I only watched that because there was a cute Nendoroid, and I was like, okay, let me see what this is. Just see if I like or not.
So I was like, okay, Sound Euphonium, sure. Yuki Yuno was a hero. I know some people like that. I don't know if enough people like that to sustain Pony Canyon's business model. So it's like, what do they really have? So that's part of their problem. Aniplex at least has stuff people really, really want. Like, okay, Sword Art Online. Okay.
Well, Sentai has this thing right now where you could request titles for them to license.
Yeah, I need to go into that, and also go into what I want that hasn't been licensed.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep for Infinity just do Girlfriend Beta because I want that show so bad. I'm not gonna do Idolmaster, despite that actually being my top. I'm not gonna do that because that's too realistically that's too big for something like that would have to be an Aniplex. That would have to be like the Japanese company itself to bring that something like that over.
Would it really?
Yeah, I believe so. Something like that. It's one
I
of
don't
those.
know. I I could maybe see perhaps Nozomi doing Idolmaster because they already have like they're already dealing with Sunrise a whole lot with all the Gundams.
Yeah, but that.
So well, Bandai, not Sunrise necessarily, but they're already dealing with Bandai.
Mm, I don't know.
I I, I think it's possible to do uh, Idolmaster through a U.S. distributor.
It's possible. I hope it's from a real. I hope it's from a really good, company.
Hope it's not Funimation.
Ideally,
It's my only hope.
well, ideally Sentai would probably be the one. Sentai or Nozomi, because those are the two that I would trust the most to,
Yeah,
and not cost, crazy amount. I don't want it to cost, and I don't want to fuck up the release either.
right.
I don't want any. I don't want any like nuded release of that either. For whatever reason. Uh. No, so just go for lower key stuff to request.
Oh yeah,
Like, is that
it's gonna be like stuff that I might have seen a while ago that either the license has lapsed or it's never been licensed.
yeah. Oh well, yeah. You can always request a whole bunch of those like um old OVAs and things. I don't know, whatever you. This is as long as you look up
Yeah.
what. Hmm. I think that's it. That's all.
Yeah, that's about it. Close out the show here. So let me get the outro thing. I can find it. I can tell you, however, that the website is ntrradio.net and the email address is ntrradio@gmail.com. We got the t-shirts. You can find them at yashike.moy/store with the other Yashike t-shirts. VZ has a book. It's called The Big Book of Idols. It's an Idolmaster art book. You can find it at thebigbookofIdols.com. Shinikiba.moe is where I sell anime figures. Hit us up on iTunes. You can hit us up on Twitter at TAnubis, at VZMK2, at immortal_kgods, even though he's not here, and at NTR Radio. Check out the Bakagaijin Show and Otaku Midnight because both those are really good. I'm Time Enforcer Anubis.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
And even though Funimation ends their partnership with us every time we say this, he's NTR Radio.